Hey guys, welcome back. Mel Williams. So, for the past several weeks, we've been talking about identifying the bad habits that you want to be self aware of so you can start to catch yourself using the point and call method and just exercising more self awareness, being more self aware of your bad habits that are not leading you towards the goals, ultimately, the man and the character that you want to develop. This week, we're going to be talking about the positive habits, the good things that you want to be including in your daily habits that are ultimately going to help you build the character and ultimately experience the quality dating experiences and relationship experiences that you want to be having in your relationships with women. Okay, so we're going to cover two techniques, two formulas in this video that are going to help you to really start to get in the habit, building good habits towards that goal. All right, so the biggest reason, one of the biggest reasons, and I believe it is the biggest reason why a lot of men fail when it comes to dating and approaching women is because you guys often don't know what to do. Okay, you have a fear of rejection, you don't have a plan, you don't know what to say, you don't know what to do, and basically, again, it goes back to not having a plan. You don't know how to approach women in a confident manner, and again, you get fuddled and confused and you trip over yourself when it comes to what should I say, what should I do, how do I not come off as a creep or a jerk, how do I avoid getting rejected, and all these other hosts of thoughts and concerns that play through your mind. And ultimately it makes you either do nothing, it makes you maybe fumble and stumble, and makes you feel maybe embarrassed and even more insecure. And the worst thing that a lot of you can do is to pick up bad habits like we've been talking about in the previous videos. And this more so talks about going to maybe the pickup artist community where you learn often, again, bad habits, manipulative tactics that ultimately undermine your goals of experiencing quality, good dating relationship experiences. Okay. You can check the box like we talked about, but ultimately we want to focus on the quality of your experiences. Anyone can get into a relationship, anyone can have sex, anyone can kiss a woman, X, Y, and the third. Ultimately, we want to talk about the quality of those experiences and are they sustainable? Are they consistent and sustainable in a good, healthy, loving manner? So again, for this video, it's going to be better for you to develop a plan, okay? A plan, and even better to develop good, healthy habits that you can default to whenever an opportunity arises for you to pursue maybe a potential interest, a potential romantic interest, a potential, maybe even a friendship interest. It may not pan out to be romantic. Whatever the case might be, you want to have a plan to be ready for when opportunity arises. And the best way to do that is going to be confidence and being able to pull from your genuine, authentic self, having confidence to pull from your genuine, authentic self because you actually like who you are and the direction that you're heading in. Whether you're perfect or not, I mean, no one is perfect, but like, regardless of how confident you feel in perfectionism, you want to be more confident in your fact that you like who you are, where you're at, and where you're going. And the best way to do that is going to be confidence and trust within yourself, okay, within your genuine, true, authentic self, showing up as your genuine, true, authentic self versus relying on, manipulative tactics and becoming someone that you're not, which is often what is promoted in the pickup artist community, becoming this whole new person. You reinvent yourself and basically put on this mask and persona of someone that you're really not comfortable being. All right, so I'm going to refer to my notes. The first tactic is called the implementation intention. And this is coming from the book Atomic Habits that we've been talking about for the past several weeks. Its formula says, when situation X arises, I will perform response Y. Okay, so basically when X happens, I will do this. So one of the examples that I wrote is when you see an attractive woman that you would like to approach, you will respectfully engage and ask for her buy-in like we discussed in the previous lesson, okay? So you see an attractive woman, you respond by respectfully approaching her and seeing if she gives you her buy-in, okay? Should the situation of rejection arise, so again, using that example again, should X happen, you respond with Y. So should the situation of rejection arise, she's not buying into your approach or for whatever reason, doesn't matter, you will respectfully disengage and leave, okay? This does one of several things like we talked about in the previous video. Regardless of how an interaction goes with the woman that you approach, is good for you because it's building your confidence so that when opportunity arises, again, every woman that you approach isn't going to be your cup of tea and you're not going to be her cup of tea. Once you guys find out whether or not you're compatible or not, okay, she might already know off the bat you're not compatible. You might not know that yet. So don't take rejection personally. It does several things, okay? It builds up your confidence with your approach of women, and also it builds your comfort with rejection, because you need to get used to rejection, okay? If you're looking for that one special person in the sea of billions of people, then everybody that you approach is not going to be the right person, okay? They're not going to be that one person. That's just the reality. But you do need to get comfortable with approaching women. You do need to get comfortable with rejection, because you're probably going to meet a lot of rejection before you actually meet the right person that is for you. So rejection is good, okay? You are basically narrowing down that list. And I actually have a better way for men to narrow down the dating pool and the list of women that they're even asking out on the first date and approaching, which I talk about in my online dating course, okay? Then the flip side of that is that if the situation arises where she does provide her buy-in, then you will respond by, again, continuing to be respectful, maybe asking her for her number and asking her for a date and time that you guys could reconnect later and maybe go on a better date. Now you basically proceed with the interaction, proceed with the conversation, and keep communication going, okay? That's an example. Again, this is just an example. The most important thing is going to be for you to make sure that whatever plan of action you develop, that it is going to be intentionally reflecting the behavior and the quality of character of the man that you want to be, the man that you're designing yourself to be, for the type of quality interactions and experiences that you want to have with women when it comes to even your approach with women, okay? Not just the dating, not just the in the relationship stage, but also even your approach of women. What type of interactions do you want to have with women? Do you want to be the weird, creepy guy that they avoid and that they turn away from? Do you want to be the one that's too afraid to even say anything and doesn't speak up? Or do you want to be the one that's confident and that can handle rejection in a good way, and that can also carry a conversation if she does give you her buy-in and permission to continue that conversation? All right, so you have to think about the kind of man that you want to be, and ultimately, again, that's going to influence your intentions, the underlying habits that you develop. Another thing that's going to be important to note that I talk about in my book here is that, again, your underlying intentions and behavior, deciding the man that you want to be. A lot of men are approaching dating and relationships from the standpoint of, like we talked about in my previous video, sexual frustrations. You haven't kissed a girl, you haven't had sex, X, Y, and the third, and it has nothing to do with considering the quality of character, the type of man that you actually want to be and show up for or show up as in a potential relationship, okay? So that's what you need to be thinking about more. Instead of thinking about you haven't, had sex, you haven't had your sexual desires met, and you're sexually frustrated, you need to be thinking more about what kind of man is able to sustain consistently the type of quality interactions that you want to be having with women. And that's what I talk about inside this book. Again, it's all about self-awareness, understanding where all of that is coming from and how it is shaping the behaviors and ultimately the quality of experiences that you're going to have. All right, we're going to go back to my notes here. The next and second strategy that we wanted to talk about in this video is called habit stacking, also pulling this from the book Atomic Habits. It says, after I do this, then I will do this, okay? Or I will do that, okay? So basically, habit stacking is one thing on top of the other. It's actually great for when we're talking about personal development, but of course, it can be used for dating and relationships also. But again, it's really good for when you're talking about like developing personal habits and routines, self-esteem, and all of that, okay? So an example of that is let's do like personal development first. So if this, then that. So when it comes to your building self-confidence, your appearance, your self-esteem, you could say after you get off work, you'll check in with your girlfriend or your partner or whoever. Then after you check in with her, you'll do meal prep. After you do meal prep, then you'll hit the gym. After you hit the gym, you'll do your night skincare routine. After you do your night skincare routine, you might read or meditate. Okay, this is about building lifestyle. Okay, when we talk about habits, ultimately, again, your behaviors, your actions, your belief, it inspires, motivates, and basically ultimately shapes the person that you develop, your personality, and all these different things. So that example that I just gave was a habit stacking example of how you can build your lifestyle and habits to the character of the man that you are becoming, okay? Now let's look at dating and relationships, because again, this also can apply to dating and relationships, all right? It says the perfect plan so that you are not scrambling or clueless in various situations. So for example, you can say after you get a woman's number, you will make plans for consistent communications so that you can decide if you have enough compatibility for a first date. Okay, so after you get a woman's number, you will make plans to have consistent communications so that you can decide whether or not you guys are compatible for the first date. Then, after you decide that you're compatible for the first date or not, which you would if you decide to do this, then you're going to ask her out for the first date. After you ask her out for the first date, then you're going to confirm dinner times and reservations with her, and then, of course, make plans for that to happen. Okay? So, those are two examples for ways that you can start to develop good habits that are going to help you see more success and more quality experiences in your dating relationships, approaches with women, and even in your personal individual life when it comes to the quality of your own life, whether you're single, again, doesn't matter your relationship status. All right, guys, so the first strategy that we covered was called implementation intention, which basically just says that when opportunity or situation X happens or arises, then you're going to respond with Y behavior, habit, and whatnot. And then the second one that we talked about was called habit stacking, which is once this happens, then I'm going to do this. And it basically helps you to continue to develop a lifestyle routine that you basically default to. Okay, so these are two ways, two strategies that we just covered that can help you start to intentionally plan for and develop better habits that are going to put you in a better default position for how to respond when opportunity arises, whether it's you seeing an attractive woman, whether it's you getting into a dating relationship scenario and you want to be consistent and be a good partner and have good quality experiences. Even when it comes to your own personal life and your own personal growth and development, these are the sort of behaviors and mindsets that you want to start to develop for yourself, whether it's, again, for yourself or for a partner in a relationship. These are good habit practices that you want to get in the habit of because, again, dating, love, and relationships, these are lifestyle, okay? These are behaviors that you carry often through your life, okay? And it's going to be something that you rely on and default to time and time again. You want to be intentional about it. You want to develop good habits and you want to get rid of anything that is not serving you. With that said, I want you to take this week's exercise and come up with 2 to 3 examples of your own, 2 to 3 for your personal individual life, and 2 to 3 for your dating lifestyle, whether it's approaching women, whether it's if you're in a current relationship right now. What are some good habits and behaviors and routines that you can develop using those 2 strategies to help you get better at dating and be more of the man that you want to be? That's it for this video. I will see you in next week's video.